Hello, okay, so I understand you've come for a consultation to have a look at some of the teapots we have for your new home. Uh-huh. Yep, this is quite an unusual shop. We do just sell teapots, but we sell variety. We sell novelty ones, which are purely for display. We sell practical ones. We sell vintage ones, antique ones as well as dolls ones. So it's very popular with the tourists, obviously because England is very famous for its tea drinking culture. If you go into any English home, any British home I should say, and the first thing you'll probably be offered is a nice cup of tea. So it's quite fun to have a selection of different teapots, just as a kind of a bit of a fun thing to do to offer guests. So that's kind of what we're about, really. And also, it's a nice comfort drink as well. And if you have a nice teapot in which to serve the tea, then that can really create a nice atmosphere. Okay, so before we start, did you have any idea of the type of teapots you wanted to look at? Okay, great. Yeah, that's fine. I've just brought over a selection of different types. So all the ones I'm going to show you are for sale. So you can either order any of them online if you like the look of some of them, or come back and have a think, or take any away with you today. These particular teapots are for display only, however, so if there's any you like, then we would obviously give you one that's already well packaged in a box. Okay, so the first one I wanted to show you, let's start with the most practical ones first, and then we'll build up to the more fun ones. So this one is a generic, very generic, highly practical and simple teapot. As you can see, it's made of ceramic and it's cream, so it's ideal for someone who has very simple tastes, very minimalistic, and it more or less does what it says. It can serve up to 4 cups in mugs, but if you have the little teacups, then it can serve about 6. So this is quite a nice staple, if you like, teapot to have in your collection. One where you want to serve tea to some friends or guests or family, but if it breaks, it won't be so heartbreaking because you can easily get another one of these. So it's a nice basic staple to have. As with most teapot lids, it has a little groove here, and that just slips into the top, and there's a flat section here, and that lines up with a flat section on the rim. You just pop it in, and there you are. It's a really lovely, simple, straightforward teapot. The next one I'm going to show you, this is another quite simple one, but it's good if you fancy a cup of tea and you want to treat yourself to your teapot, have it in a teapot just for yourself. So this does serve 1 mug of tea, possibly 2, and of course the little teacups, it does serve more than that. This is the same design, same similar design, flat ridge here, which has a flat ridge that lines up here with a little groove at the end there. And this comes in a nice forest green colour, We do have other colours, we have yellows and blues, but this again does actually go well in any kitchen because of the colour scheme, and it does go of course with wood as well as white. And this is a good teapot size to get and design if you want a straightforward, simple, practical teapot just for yourself perhaps when you're working from home, or when you want to watch your favourite film and you want to curl up with a cup of tea. You want to treat yourself to have it in a teapot. That's quite nice. It's quite nice there. Okay. Let's move on to a slightly more interesting design. This one is a nice blue and white pattern. And this is actually made in the north of England, in Northumbria. Slightly bigger than the previous one, so it does serve 2 to 3 mugs, and 4 ones in teacups. And again, this has a slightly different design. It's got a little ridge there, but the teapot itself is entirely, the opening rather, is entirely round, rather than having a flat ridge like we've seen. This is, I think this is a nice compromise between a nice practical style of teapot like that we've seen in the plain colours, and one that is a little bit more interesting. And it's hand painted, as you can see, which makes it a little bit more unique. It's hand painted, it's got a slightly different blue shade here, which makes it a little bit more personal, nice personal touch. And if I show you the spout, it hasn't been painted exactly perfectly, but I quite like that style. Again, it's the personal touch rather than everything being perfect and symmetrical. And all the teapots I've shown you so far are ceramic, and they're dishwasher friendly, dishwasher safe, it might be friendly as well, so they're fine to go in the dishwasher without any worries about it breaking. But obviously just be careful the way you place them in the dishwasher, that they don't bang about too much. Okay, the next teapot I'm going to show you, this is more of a novelty one, and it's usually for one person. These are very popular in Britain, so it's always advertised as one person, but I often when I use these styles, I can get at least 2 cups out. So what it is, it's a teapot, mug and saucer combined. So the top part is a teapot, and it has a flat bottom here, and then it's rounded at the end, and that fits in the saucer quite nicely, like so. And both of those fit really nicely onto the saucer. So how it works, if I just show you this, it has a bit of a dark rim, or a straight rim I should say, around the edge, so it's like a semicircle. That's to give it a bit of an extra support when this is placed on it, and it has a straight edge too, that just slots in place. So you make tea in the normal way, and if you're not quite ready for your cup of tea, then you simply place it like so, and you might want to put biscuit here. You can also pour out some of your tea, and if you want to keep it warm, you can place it over it. But a word of warning, don't fill your cup too high, which is what I did recently, forgetting, because it will of course spill over the edge. So fill it perhaps just halfway, enough so this side will fit inside it comfortably without it spilling over the edge. It's really for if you've already have a cup of tea and you're very near the end and you haven't quite finished and you might not be ready to have the last bit just yet, then you can pop this on top, and if it's got tea inside then it will keep it warm for you. So just have a quick look at the design here. It is a typical British design. You've got the Union Jack flags around here with some little happy teapot and some sweets. And a similar design around here, and you've got a little pot of jam there with a cup of coffee, or I suppose it would be a cup of tea. So it's got really nice icons. I like to call this the quintessential English teapot. So it's got some really nice, quite cute images there. This particular design sold really well during the Queen's Jubilee a few years ago. Anything that was quintessential English, cup of tea of course, and the Union Jacks and the teapots, very, very popular. And this in itself is actually a great gift as well, because it's a whole set. You've got the teapot, and again this will actually serve out with this size. You can actually get 2 cups in here, 4 cups of this size, and you've got the saucer, so it's quite nice. And you've got some more design on the outside. The other great thing about this particular design is it really saves space. Perhaps you've only got room for 1 teapot, and in my opinion I think every home should have a teapot, then this is ideal, because it's 3 in 1 effectively, and it's a nice little set. The next piece I want to show you is this highly practical but very unique and ultra modern teapot. So it's made of 3 components. You've got the lid, 4 components I should say. You have the lid, and it has a little rubber base. It has a tea infuser. This is where you put your tea leaves. It has the teapot itself. And it has the teapot stand where you put the tea light. So it's all quite self-explanatory. You simply light your tea light in here, place it like so. When you have your cup of tea, or rather your teapot, you place this on the stand. And the water should go up to the top, so the tea leaves in here are infusing well and flavouring the water with beautiful flavoured scented tea. And then you simply put the lid on and that fits like so. So obviously this is made of glass, and it is an absolutely fantastic design. It's practical in the sense that, unlike some teapots, they cool down very quickly, but with the tea light it keeps it warm for longer. And it also looks attractive when you have your tea in there. You can actually see the colour. So Darjeeling tea tends to be quite a weak, muted colour, like a very pale red. Earl Grey tends to be slightly yellower. And of course, if you want fruit teas, they'll look fantastic here too. Might be a pink, if you want a berry tea, black forest tea, black forest berries, always look lovely in here. Also, if you're someone who doesn't perhaps use tea leaves, it's fine to also use this compartment for tea bags too. And because these compartments all come out, this is made of metal. These are all dishwasher safe. One thing I would say is, because this section is glass, you do need to take extra care. And it might be that you decide this section you wash by hand. This is a really nice, clean, contemporary, crisp design of teapot. It's incredibly stylish. It's a very smooth down lip here. The aspect about this teapot that I like is that it does keep the tea warm for longer. And if you're like me, where you have one cup of tea and you do want another cup, but you don't have it immediately, then it does keep it really nice and warm. And the other thing that's great about this design is that when you have taken some of the tea out and transferred it into the cup, the water level will of course go down and it will go below the infuser. So not only is your tea kept warm, it doesn't stew as it would with a normal tea bag, where you have to remember to take the tea bag out after a certain amount of time. You don't need to remember it with this teapot. So an all-round, very stylish, very modern design, and a very unique and practical addition to any home. It's very much of a talking point too, because it's so unusual. You do see this style of teapot in Germany and in countries like Romania and Poland too, where they tend to favour all kinds of different fruit teas, where the colours are so beautiful that you do want to be able to see them. And transparent teapots like this enable you to do that. So moving on to a very traditional, quintessential Victoriana style of teapot. This is actually one of our most valuable, expensive teapots. It's actually a Wedgwood, so it's a well-known, I don't want to say the word brand because that's very modern, and Wedgwood is a very beautiful collection of pottery, which was first set up in the 18th century by Josiah Wedgwood, who lived in the Midlands, and he set up he developed a specific style of very sought after pottery. A typical Wedgwood will be blue with a white relief effect, which I don't have any of at the moment because they're incredibly rare, and the ones we do have are very quickly bought. But this is one of his lesser known pieces, and of course Wedgwood's still around today, and it's still very popular. This is made of bone china. As you can see, with a gold rim around the edge. It's a beautiful wild strawberry design. Wild strawberries, and this comes as part of a service, if you like, of teacups, saucers, milk jug, all matching, and sugar bowl. And Wedgwood are very much a believer in quintessential English tea parties of the 18th and 19th century. Whereas most tea sets will have 6 or even 8 cups and saucers, this comes with 12. So if you did want to hold a very old-fashioned, quintessential English tea party, you can invite 11 people, 12 including yourself, all with matching crockery. This particular piece is from the 1900s, and because it's bone china, I would definitely recommend cleaning this pot, washing it and keeping it clean by hand. Never a good idea to put bone china, especially antique pieces like this, in the dishwasher. So you want to make sure that this is really looked after well. And this piece has 2 lips at either end, so it fits in to the teapot, and you twist to keep the lid on. If I just show you the corresponding indentation, there's 2 lips there, 2 little indents. You should like to see the mark to show you that it is Wedgwood. It is at the bottom here, and that stamp is how you can tell it's genuine Wedgwood. It's a very, very beautiful, valuable piece. I did say earlier that these are display teapots and that you will be giving a box of a pre-packaged one, but obviously because this is antique, this is the only one we have. So you'd purchase this either on its own or with the 12 teacups and saucer set. It's nice to have things in a set. I always think, so you might want to consider that as well, depending how much space you have. Now this piece. This is one of my personal favourites. It's a very unusual shape. It's almost a hexagon shape. And because it's antique, I obviously can't claim that it's new, therefore unused. Unfortunately, I'd love to know the story of who owned this before, but I don't, so if you don't fancy the idea of having something used, this might be a very nice display teapot instead, rather than one you drink out of. It's one of the first willow pattern styles, which tend to be more of a peacock blue. But this is a teal style with gold rims around the edges. This is it's more of a rectangular lid, and as you can see it's shaped like a roof to go with the pattern, and it's got very charming design and actually very pleasant chips, I think, which really shows how old it is. Not one of those chips where you'll break it by accident, but one of those chips that really show its age. And there's the stamp of authenticity there. And there's only a certain way of putting this in. You can't put it in any old way. This has got a little ridge, so it tells you the right way. And it fits in like that. Got a very charming picture there. It's a Chinese design, sorry. And if I can just show you the handle. Beautiful, floral, delicately created. So actually the whole shape of the teapot has been done as a Chinese temple. And the stem, the bottom of the teapot, sorry, has these little charming feet. So that's in teal and gold. And again, this is our only copy, of course. So it does have a few chips on the lid, as you can see. But that is part and parcel of it being antique and vintage. I would say that if anyone tried to sell you a vintage antique teapot that was in perfect condition, I would be very suspicious as to its authenticity. I'm not saying that any chips prove that something's antique, of course, because anyone can chip it, but it does give this a really beautiful sense of being used, and that's really what you want from antiques, that it's from a previous time, from a previous era. Okay, the final piece I want to show you is very much a display novelty set, as you'll see. Of course, I'm sure you can use it as for tea if you like. It's certainly made out of material which you can, but it'd be more like a thimble-sized cup. So, as I said, this is more of a novelty style, and again, this is bone china, and this is actually a replica of a Victoriana make. The Victorians really went in for miniature designs. They were very fond of it, and often, of course, for display purposes. Not really for dolls' tea sets. It was all for display and as talking points, as conversation pieces. So if you're into antiques and into Victorian antiques, you'll often find a lot of everyday items in miniature, because it was very popular in the 1800s. So if I just get this a bit closer to you, so this piece, a miniature teapot, and it has a beautiful blue flower design in gold leaf with a pink rose at the end, in the middle, sorry. Beautiful handle. And it comes with a very cute milk jug, again, gold rim. And the same blue flower and pink design. Also with a beautiful sugar pot. With a lid, of course. And a little cup. And matching saucer. This is a miniature tea for two set. There's another cup there. And this comes in a very beautiful, this all comes on a very beautiful matching tray. And again, you can see the stamp there, which confirms it's bone china and it's part of the Regal collection. But this is, although it's part of the Regal collection, it's a replica of a Victoriana piece by the same name. Again, I definitely would recommend this being hand washed if you do want to use it for tea. Perhaps a little bit of fun one afternoon. Certainly not the one for the dishwasher, because these are so small they will break easily. But this really is the sort of thing that you'd want to display rather than, of course, use. And although it's small, it is very tempting to give this to your children. But it's not really suitable for a child's toy because it does break. What I like about this set in particular, as well as it's so sweet, it's got, I'll just show you here, it's got some very lovely, the edge of the tray is slightly irregular. Like a floral edge. trays. You can have a look at what that looks like. Oh, and actually, you might not have noticed with this saucer, it's got a slightly textured, elongated surface here, which is quite pretty. This tray. This is actually quite a fine piece on its own. Again, this is a Regal silver bone china, of course. I'll show you the right way up. So it's a pink rose design surrounded by blue flowers. There's the milk jug. So this is a very stunning piece. We do have a few of these, but not in colour variations, so it is in blue and gold. This is something, as I said, that's would be lovely in a display cabinet, like the one behind me. But also, depending how careful you are, this might be nice as a table piece. So when you have friends or family over for tea with your own adult size tea set, this would be nice as a little conversation piece in the middle of the table. And this really is very pleasant to look at. Very attractive piece indeed. Okay, so that's what I wanted to show you today. We have got so many more designs and styles, but I wanted to show you a selection of each category. So I showed you some very practical ones, some vintage ones, some antique ones, and some fun novelty ones. So was there any styles there that took your fancy? Oh, okay, great. Sure. Yeah, absolutely. We're open at 9 till 5, Monday to Saturday. Or Saturday, I should say, we're open 9 till 4. But give me a ring any time. And if you wanted to come back and have another look, because we're always getting new stock in, and my colleagues, two of my colleagues, trail around at the antique shops here in Kent, and around the country indeed, to find some really beautiful, unique antique pieces. So we're always getting new things in, so do come in any time. Okay, you were interested in the miniature set, absolutely. Okay, that's fine. Oh right, you've got some shopping to do. Okay, yeah, that's fine. I can keep that for you. I can package that up. What we do have a reservation policy, so I can get that all packaged up for you. but I'm sure you understand that if you haven't come to collect it by a certain point today, by the time we close, then it will be back on sale. But I'm absolutely happy to get that packaged up for you. So if you want to pay for it on your return, just in case you do forget, and then that's fine. So that's fine. You see, you've got a few hours, so do come back when your shopping's done, and I'll see you again. That's great. Okay.